Greetings from my country. What country is that, you might ask? Donut hole country. You may be familiar with it. It's the country where I can eat 5 glazed munchkins, which of course are donut holes, and not feel like I have eaten an entire donut. Which has prompted me this week to think, I have a new immigration policy. I want all those capable of inventing a donut hole to come to this country. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what country you're from. I don't care what color of your skin. Can you bring the sugar so that I don't feel guilty consuming it? Hello, this is Pat Coakley in episode 127 of Pod Snacks, ArtoftheDiet127. And if you hear some ambient sounds, that's because I'm at the gym. It's 5:20 in the morning. It is snowing out. And it's supposed to snow all day, so I knew this was going to be the only time I had to move this old body around in a circle. And going out in snow, to me, is sort of like going outside of the spaceship without, your big puffy suit on. So this is just another of the how I know I've changed moments. Although as I look out the window and it does begin to snow a little bit harder, I am thinking, I think I'm going from 30 minutes to 20 minutes. But anyway, welcome. And let's talk about sugar, shall we? So all those sugary treats that I was baking for almost the entire month of December, and just finished another batch for a visit to family last week. And I said, let me think about this. I'm sure we've all heard of these books and doctors with legitimate credentials that are a bit hysterical about sugar and its badness. And I understand that they have credentials aside their name that I do not. And I also understand one thing that all of them repetitively say, which is once you eat sugar, it triggers your need to have more sugar. So I've experienced that firsthand, so I'm not disputing that overall your metabolism would be better off without sugar. So I'm not even contesting it. But what I do say to myself and to you, that another credentialed voice who doesn't have any skin in the game with respect to weight loss or weight maintenance, who's just a biologist and the kind of doctor who specializes in the human body, he says 10,000 receptors in my human body react to sugar. 10,000. And so I'm thinking, I'm not religious at all, but I'm thinking if God gave us 10,000 receptors for sugar, it can't be all bad. I mean, why would our body be so sensitive to this? And it's not sensitive because it prevents us from ingesting poison. Let's face it, other studies have shown that when, I would have loved to have been a part of this study, you go into an MRI machine and you ingest sugar, and it then maps your brain. And apparently the reaction that our brain has to sugar is the same as when someone does cocaine. Now, I don't know whether they've got someone shooting up in the MRI to test this. I'm not even going to go into that, but I must say I do have anecdotal evidence that when I ingest, let's say, Hershey Kisses, for me to just have one or two Hershey Kisses is damn near impossible. I simply have to have more than one or two. So, and it's not because I feel bad, okay? I feel sort of good. And I want to feel good some more, so that's why I have more. And so, anyway, this is just prattling on to let you know that I'm aware of the don't eat sugar docs. I'm aware of the docs that tell me I have 10,000 receptors in my body sensitive to sugar. And I've also got anecdotal evidence of my own that when I eat sugar, in whatever product, be it an overtly sugary product like cookies or cakes or whatever, or those a little more disguised like in cereal or breads or whatever, I want more of it. It's much more easily seen to me as an addictive product. I don't have that same reaction to chickpeas, okay? When I have a half a cup of chickpeas, I'm not like thinking about having another half a cup. Not at least from the craving point of view. From a point of view of am I full? Yeah, I could imagine it. But not thinking, gee, there's another half a cup chickpeas left. Let me go get it. All right, so there's an allure of certain foods. So anyway, the bottom line is that I have been thinking about my toleration of sugar in the past 6 weeks. And I've had to combat the effects of it because it does make making good food choices for me a little bit harder, particularly if they're in the house. So I said, let me eliminate sugar for a month, the equivalent of the amount of time that I spent making sugary things last month. And on a daily basis, maybe having one of the cookies or tasting the batter or whatever. And this is where I thank God for freestyle, because I started it at the same time that I was doing this baking. So I was also keeping track of things. So it did not get out of control, but it did make healthy eating choices harder, because I do have one of those systems that once I have it, I think about it more and I go, oh Lord, maybe I could just have one more of those. So I said to myself, this week I have a key word that I sometimes put on a sticky note and put on my bathroom window and on one of the kitchen cabinets to remind me of the theme for the week. Like the one I just took down said every day, and that was referencing that I would weigh myself every day during the month of December to make sure that I did not BS myself about my consumption of what I was baking. So I took that down because it began to have no meaning whatsoever, and I had stopped doing it in January, so it was just meaning nothing. So today, the new sticky is going to be sugar. And I started a couple of days ago, and the only sugar that I've ingested, and forget about those products that metabolize into sugar, which, like apparently popcorn does, which of course is why I love popcorn. But the bottom line is I'm talking about just sugar products that start out sugar, they metabolize the sugar because they are sugar, and there's no, chemical transfer that's necessary to make them into sugar. And so I realized in the last couple of days that I haven't had those cravings. Okay, so evidence that I am already aware of, that when I don't eat them, I don't crave them. But I also know that I take this vitamin, and it's in a chewable form because they're horse pills otherwise, and I really can't even swallow them. And they're gummies. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, because I think they come in a variety of vitamins. But this is, an old girl vitamin, for your bones and all of that stuff. And there's sugar in these damn things, and that's why they taste good. And I thought, oh Lord, I'm going to have to find an equivalent of the vitamin without the added sugar if I'm going to do this correctly. And so I looked it up, and there's a powder, and I thought, oh, I remember this powder, because 2 years ago I did a period of time, and this was months, where I didn't eat sugar or grain. Believe it or not, I did not, for months. And I had to locate the substitute for these vitamins, and I did, and it was a powder. And I'll tell you what, you mix the powder in water, it's sort of orangey, and you know what, it's not as fun to take the vitamins in the liquid form, but I'm going to have to go back and order some of that in order to do my month-long experiment. And the reason I'm doing it is that the wind is at my back with respect to getting the white knuckle weight maintenance journey to be less white knuckle and just me with my hands on the wheel and driving this weight maintenance bus and not into a ditch. And just like today, with snow driving, you have to take precautions. I think for me to do this properly, one of the precautions is don't set myself up to have to be fighting against the urge to have one more sugary thing or one more snack, even if it's approved in a plan, even if I can do the points, and even if I can not go beyond whatever the recommended calories in, calories out, it just makes my life harder. And right now I'm trying to get my highs from more natural things, more creative things. And P.S., the lawyer called me yesterday, and the photo gardener, which is, as you know, my ambitious woman, creation is now officially my name as a trademark in the United States Patent Office. I've got an official registration number, so the stamp of approval. It's a process that takes about 7 months, and lawyers have to look at it, and then it's put out there to see if anyone's going to challenge that the name overlaps theirs. So you're not entirely sure when you apply for this trademark that you're going to get it, and it might be legal fees down the drain if someone objects and you don't have the ability to fight it. So I'm feeling pretty pleased with myself right now. And I said, all right, let me fight these January blues by taking a little more control of the wheel and have it be a little bit easier. You know how some people like to just say, oh, I can drive in any sort of weather. And you know what? I'm that person too. I can manage my way through all sorts of food groups. But if I'm riding in snow, I want to have a car that has all-wheel drive. I want to have, my windshield wipers operating properly, and I want good tires. And for right now, for January 2018, I'm going to have grains. I'll have my whole wheat grains, and I'll have, my instant pot meals. And P.S., I made beef broccoli with the Instant Pot, and I loved it. Now, I didn't follow the recipe because that recipe had putting brown sugar into it, and there were a lot of flavors that I think were high in sodium that I tried to get the low sodium equivalent. But this was delicious. And that's the other key for me to maintain the sugar-free life, is to have meal equivalents that I look forward to. Now, do they give me that cocaine high in the MRI? I don't know. You'd have to test it out. I'm not sure they have a catering service in the local MRI. But all I know is that I look forward to, just today, for example, to have lunch of the beef broccoli. So I'm sort of recommending this, and I've really evolved with it also. I no longer need the entire broom to release the pressure valve. I can do it with a spatula length implement. So, ladies and gents, I'm evolving in every way. So, anyway, that's it for this week. I've had several more people request the survey, and so I'm going to do it. I'm going to leave it open for another week. And if people are going, survey what? I know you haven't been listening, because I really have no idea how many people genuinely listen every week. And I would like to know more about you so that when I do these things, I can address not just things that are occurring to me, but issues that you're having. And I want to do it in a way that is not intrusive and is totally voluntary. So I would like you to, if you would be willing to participate in a short survey, and I do mean short, if you could just email me at artofthediet@gmail.com, artofthediet@gmail.com. And all you have to do is put survey in the subject line. If you'd like to say anything else in the, content area, that's fine, but that's all you have to put. And then I'm going to send you out this survey. And I would really appreciate it because I've been doing this for more than 2.5 years. I know I have steady listeners because I do have a particular statistic plan with my podcast. I don't pay for the deluxe one. That's why I really don't know as much as I should know about my listeners. But if I could get some input from you, I think the quality of this would be better, and I would be doing what I just heard this week because P.S. a family member gave me the Obama book by Pete Souza. Oh my God. Start your day with these photographs if you're feeling low, because you just remember that there are human beings who are leaders, who have integrity. And at some point, he was describing one of the photographs of Obama with his daughters, and he said that he had heard President Obama say to his daughters about living their life: be kind, be useful. And I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to try to do this year. As you know, I struggle with kindness with respect to the current leadership. But I could be more useful. And I'll try to work on the kindness thing, but that's really hard. But the useful thing, I think with your help, I could learn to do that. So, ArtoftheDiet@gmail.com. And I started a Facebook group that I still don't know how to access from my own page, because Facebook makes it a little weird for the owners of pages to be able to go directly to it. But I'll figure this out. But if you're interested, go to the page, and that's facebook.com/artofthediet. And there'll be a few videos there on the page itself, as well as, postings of the podcast. And we'll see whether there's an interest in it. Okay, I have to go get in the car and drive home through this snowstorm. Over and out, as my father used to say on his ham radio set. So that's it for this week. I'm back home, and I bet you can tell the difference in the audio quality. I'm sorry about that, but you know what? I figured if any crowd would understand, it would be the Art of the Diet podcast crowd. And I also wanted to just remind you that I'm going to put links to some of those no sugar docs on the show notes page this week, and that's at www.artofthediet.com/127, the number 127. And so come on over to facebook.com/artofthediet and see if you can find the group. I can't find it. And my email again is artofthediet@gmail.com. And as always, just thanks for listening. And P.S., on my way home from the gym, I went to Dunkin' Donuts to purchase a donut that I could photograph for today's podcast art. And I just want you to know I've photographed it already, and I'm throwing it out because honestly, there's just no food value to this at all. And since I have sugar up on my cabinets and my bathroom mirror, really having a strawberry sprinkled frosted donut just isn't part of the plan, is it? All right, take care. Talk to you next week.